You're on with the amazing Sheila. I'm just going to shut the hell up and let you guys have a great conversation.
All right, well, let's just jump right into it. Sheila, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Hi.
But you know the rules here. It wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't give you the customary over-the-top intro. So, Sheila, 1 second of your time, please. We have to do it right. Ladies and gentlemen, you have loved her in Tehran. You have loved her in Charlie Wilson's War. And you're going to love her in the new Disney Pixar film Elemental. When she's not lighting up our movie screens as the character Cinder, she is lighting the world for a strong advocate of education and mental health. Her scorching, hot champion of animal rights, currently saving our good friend Tara from being a two-piece in a biscuit. Look, I'm not just blowing smoke. Her greatness, but she has been awarded around so many to name, but we're gonna name a few. Around the World Movie Celebration Grant, Best Chief Honor, Best Movie Grant, Past the Being Global Movie Celebration Grant, Pears Celebration Grant, as many others as she, like her executive film called Wake Up Rested in Excellence. Even though the nose knows, to quote the great Paul McCartney, we never knew a girl like little Sheila, but you are going to find out. Shila Ommi, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you, Sam. Oh my God, you gave me so much energy. The nose knows.
Well, let's just jump right into it. Yes, there was a lot of fire puns in there, but that's because we're talking about Elemental. In Elemental, you play Cinder Lumen, Ember's mom, and the chief Firetown resident matchmaker. I'm curious, what attracted you to such a character?
Oh my God, she is such a fireball of a fabulous character, and she believes in love, and she believes in bringing people together so people don't have to be alone. Oh, she's just one of the favorite characters I've ever played. And I feel so honored that Peter Sohn, who is the brilliant wizard director and co-writer of this movie, he based this character on his own Korean mom. Peter Sohn is the son of Korean immigrants, so it was so important for me to do such a good job with her because I was given this incredible honor, and I wanted to make her soul and spirit proud of me and proud of Peter
I
for
mean,
playing his mama.
yeah, of course. And being Ember's mom, one of all right, first of all, Cinder has so many victories in matchmaking
Mm.
to the point where
Mm.
she is the one. She is the person. But one of the things, and I have to pick my words very carefully because I'm not trying to spoil anything, but she has trouble setting up her own daughter. Now, I'm curious when you and granted it's voice acting, but there was so much of for lack of a better term, regret coming from your that she isn't able to get the job done at home. Have you ever are you drawn from something? Is that personal or is that because it seems so believable while watching it? Are you a matchmaker yourself? Who knows?
I am. How did you know this? I am such a matchmaker. You have no idea how I'm always making matches for my friends and family. And I have people who yell at me about it. They hate me doing it so much. And I'm not as successful as Cinder is, obviously. She's got such a great track record, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there are people in my life that I love so much. And every time I've tried to make a match for them, it hasn't worked. And then they get mad and they're still not they're still single, and it just breaks my heart.
Right.
So yeah, and you know how they say with Cinder's character, how the cobbler's kids have holes in their shoes, or the shoemaker's kids don't have shoes. It's the same with Cinder and Ember. She just can't get a match for Ember. I think it's because Ember has a little, between you and I don't want to give any spoilers, but she's got a little bit of a hot temper, and I wonder if that's what it is.
You
She's
gotta have
prickly. Some
patience.
You
Uh
gotta have patience.
Now one of the things about this movie that I loved, and not just because you were in it, not because how explosive the detail this movie was, it's it was so did you guys all work together? Because it kind of flowed together. So were you guys in there together?
Oh, I love hearing you say that. What a beautiful compliment. No, we weren't in there together, but our common denominator was Peter Son,
Okay.
who was our director. So he knew exactly what he wanted and how, our energy level, and he guided us so beautifully. And if there was a line that could be better said this way, so it was all the orchestration of Peter that caused all of these actors who've never met before, who are in the booth at different times, different days, different months, to make it feel as though we're all talking to each other.
Honestly,
That's his wizardry.
yeah, you
Mhm.
couldn't tell because it flowed together. Even the talks, I have the
Yeah.
word this right. The talks between you and Ember, or Bernie and
Oh,
Ember, and
oh,
one of the things I loved about Elemental, that it brought different cultures together. You can tell there's different subject models, not necessarily just on love, but culture, backgrounds, classism to some degree. Um, was that, I mean, obviously, you've been on the podcast before. We talked about your upbringing and being from Iran itself and learning different cultures in different ways. Did you have that feeling going in there too? Because, like you said, this is loosely based off Peter's family. So obviously that was in there as well. But did you also have a relation to it because of your upbringing?
absolutely. It is an immigrant story because of Peter's own experience, as you mentioned, and I'm an immigrant, right? I was born in Iran. I We had to come here. We um, for different reasons than maybe Cinder and Bernie came to Fireland from to Firetown from their Fireland.
Right.
For us, it was a matter of life and death for my dad, as it is for so many immigrants. There are so many different reasons why immigrants have to leave the country that they're born in and the country that they love and go live somewhere else. So it really resonated with me so much. And one of the biggest reasons why it resonated with me was the character of Ember. I'm not only an immigrant, but I'm also the daughter of immigrants.
Mm,
And so I grew up with immigrant parents. And there's always, for us, children of immigrants, um, there's a guilt and a burden that we all carry, that because we feel that they sacrificed so much for us to have a better life, that they could have stayed in the land that they loved. They could have, in the language that they knew, but that they came out late in life to sacrifice for us. And it's a big burden to have on your heart. And so Ember definitely deals with that on this movie. And but it's about, what's lovely is that these elements, they don't represent any specific cultures from
mhm.
real life. Element City is this diverse community, and it's inspired by cities all over the world. And it's so as having seen the film, it's the stories about these four elements: water, fire, earth, and air.
Right.
And they all had to leave the land that they lived on. For some reason, they all lived together in Element City. But because fire was one of the first elements to live there, the city's created by fire. And so it's based on the cities that have the canalways, like Venice and Amsterdam.
Mhm.
And then the fire people, who are myself and my husband Bernie, and our daughter Ember plays. We are we come into this world much later, so it's already the water people live there, and the earth people live there, and the air people live there. So we really feel very, very isolated and marginalized. So
Yeah, that
and what
comes
that
up.
does to people.
That comes up
Hmm.
several times in the movie, and I
Hmm.
am walking a tightrope here, so I'm just gonna leave that alone. Um,
Thank you.
One thing I want to say is I know all good things have to come to an end. You broke the streak. You broke the streak, and this is what we talked about last time. Sean Toom did not play Bernie in this movie. And Sean, as much as we love him, the streak has been broken where Sean ends up as your spouse in just about every project. But you broke the streak. How did that feel?
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Yes, the streak is broken. I mean, I love Sean too. I absolutely love him. But yeah, I did need to be someone else's wife. And so this time I am the wife of the amazing voice actor and animator. He's a storyboard artist. His name is Ronnie Del Carmen. And he is also an immigrant. He comes from the Philippines and he grew and he's been working for Pixar about 20 years. And what a beautiful voice. And he's one of those animators that in his animations that he's done, he's worked on every Pixar film almost that you've heard of, where he does the storyboards, but even his storyboards are full of emotion and empathy. And so to see that as a voiceover artist, he has that as Bernie, Ember's dad.
And it was great seeing you guys, even though you weren't together in the booth, how they vibe with each other. And like you talked about being a daughter of an immigrant, and those in the story, they are immigrants. I like how it was said like that there's an internal sacrifice or pressure in Ember. Even though Bernie means well, he's like almost every action he does adds to that burden or that sacrifice for her to make decisions. And I will shut up now before I ruin something.
Yeah. Well, he's a fire character. We fire characters are passionate, and we're a little too spicy sometimes.
Well, you yourself, I know you gave some props to your co-stars, but you are no stranger to voice acting yourself. We talked about in the last podcast that you are a voice in Rosetta Stone, teaching Farsight. But is there any other voice work or that you're interested in, or something you've already done that may surprise us all?
I actually did some voiceover work for this. It's an Iranian human rights watch group called the Burumand Foundation, and I did a series of short cartoons for them where I did all the voices. So I do all the voices of all the men from everyone and a few of the women, and that was amazing to do. I love doing voiceover so much. I really hope to God I do more.
It seemed fun, and it seemed like you have a knack for it. And I mean, like, you know, that is, I don't know, a freezing cold take after seeing this movie and seeing some of the other stuff you've done. But one of the things I think I loved about this the most, it was like you get a chance to not necessarily see, well, you are seeing the characters on screen, but your way of emoting, and it's not just reading. There's something that's hitting you inside. So you kind of mentioned a little bit that you pulled from your own background, and I only assume everyone else did as well, under the great direction of Peter. So one of the things that I thought would be so great, and this is just a game we're playing here, if we can manifest, because last time, I don't know if you remember our last conversation, you kind of said something, well, I don't know if you go back and watch the interview, I asked, hey, what are your projects coming up? And you kind of tiptoed around this one. You didn't say it, but you said, I have some stuff I can't talk about.
This was it. And there's also another one that I'm not sure if I can talk about that yet, but it's a Netflix project. And it's a new, that one's a new series by the brilliant writer, Charlie Koval. She is British. And so that's it's a project called Chaos. That's all I can tell you.
And that's fair.
But that's coming. Hopefully next time we'll talk about that. And I hope you're going to enjoy that.
But since we did it last time, inadvertently, let's try to do it this time. If you can manifest a voice acting role, I should say, that you would just be totally interested in, sky's the limit, what would you do? What would you want to do, I should say?
Oh, my goodness. See, do you know what? It's going to sound strange maybe to you, but as I was watching, so between you and I, as I was watching Elemental, and I loved every moment of it. I have a hard time listening to myself.
Okay.
And what I wish I could manifest is to be able to either watch myself on screen or listen to my own voice and be okay with it. You know, like everyone else to me sounded so amazing, from Leah Lewis, who plays my daughter, to oh, Mamadou Ate. Oh my God, he's so incredible, so incredible. But yeah, and Ronnie Carmen. I have a hard time listening to my own voice. I think I'd love to manifest where um, I'm okay with it. I'm able to do a voiceover thing, and because you know your own voice in your head sounds different than what you hear, so it's like
Oh, yeah.
whoa, you know.
13 years of podcasting here. I understand the struggle.
Do you see? So
I
maybe that's not a good thing to manifest. It's never going to change.
it's
So let's say something different.
it's weird though, because it's like I know what I sound like,
Right.
but there's this, I guess, even though it's actual, and I will go back because I have to edit this video for the internet and all the other good stuff. I'm going to hear myself again, and there's this thing in my head that keeps saying, "Man, I don't sound like that. I don't sound like that."
I know.
It's weird.
It's so weird. It's so weird, and it's frustrating. You know, when this
It
is
can
what we
be.
do. It's not like, yeah.
Now, one of the things I talked about manifestation because it inadvertently happened this time, but like you man, going through your career, you play so many roles. You've been a wife of spies, and you've
Mhm.
been an action movie. You've done it in theater, on the stage, and you've done it all. Well, I won't say all because there's still more to go, and we want you to. But one of the things I wanted, if that's okay, have you ever been in a villain? Now that I think about it, out of everything I've seen you in, you've either been a supporting character to allies or the people we're supposed to root for, or the protagonist itself. Have you ever thought about being bad? Just
I would love to be bad. So here's the thing, you know, as actors, we're working a lot on auditions.
mhm.
So I've played a few villains on auditions that I didn't get, but I did my best, and that was fun to do. And I tell you, one of those villains, and I can't say what, but it was
Okay.
for an HBO show. And I knew that, oh God, this is going to be an HBO show. And there was a part of me that almost didn't want to get it, only because I knew that it was going to be really sexy, as most HBO shows are so sexual.
Okay.
But she was a villain. I mean, obviously, in the audition, there was nothing. It was just
Yeah.
just the talking. But I think a villain would be fun. A
I hear
villain would
I
be
hear
really fun to do.
villains have more fun because in their own mind they don't think they're doing anything wrong, even though they clearly are. But they justify their bad actions because reasons, you know. So,
Totally.
but it's like if and I'm just tossing this out there. Because Elemental didn't necessarily have a villain. They didn't have like one person we could point at and say that they're messing everything up. But let's say, I don't know, evil queen of a new movie, just rotten. You know, those characters. So
I would love it.
why
I would
though?
love it
I'm curious. Why would you love it?
because for me, it's so much more difficult to play real good characters, because good characters, bad things happen to them all the time, and you can't just fake that stuff on every time. I tell you, every time that I play in a lot of these shows that I play on, I go home, and once filming is over, I'm sick for days from what my character has gone through. Your body doesn't know that you're acting, whereas villains are the ones that are given it. And there's also a freedom. There's a freedom in that, being a villain. But of course, I tell you, I don't like villains. I like people to be good. I like people to be good to each other and good to animals, and to get along. But if I feel like films, like when you get to watch a film and you get to watch somebody behaving badly, it's almost cathartic for you. So if there's a part of you that needs to behave badly, you get to do it vicariously through that actor instead of going out and hurting someone else. So yes, it is good to play villains, and it's good that villains exist.
Well, this has been fun. I know we have done that. You're always welcome back on the podcast. We want to chop it up about Elemental. You came back. This is awesome. This is fun. And I hope we manifest that you play a villain next time. But Sheila, you know as well as we do, we're up against it. You're always welcome back. We're gonna post this, put all your social media stuff there, and we just wish you much success.
Oh, Sam, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure.
All right. You have a great one.
Ciao. Thanks, you too. Bye.